Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. If you run an e commerce business or you are thinking about growing one, this conversation is really important because there is something I see far too often. A store can be doing amazing revenue numbers on paper. They can be doing $500,000, they can be doing $1 million, sometimes even more. And yet, the owner is stressed. The bank balance feels tight, bills are piling up, credit cards are carrying too much, inventory feels heavy, and somehow, after all that effort, it still feels like there is never enough cash. And that creates a very painful question. How can a business make so much money and still leave the owner feeling broke? If that sounds familiar, please know this. You are not crazy. You are not failing. And you are definitely not alone. Today, I want to walk you through why this happens, what is really going on behind the scenes, and what you can do to regain control. Because revenue is exciting, but revenue alone does not create peace. Revenue alone does not pay your bills comfortably. Revenue alone does not build a healthy business. What matters is what happens to the money after the sale. So let's get into it. The revenue trap. One of the biggest misunderstandings in business is the idea that if revenue goes up, cash should automatically go up too. It sounds logical. If sales are growing, then surely the business should feel stronger. But in e commerce, that is not always how it works. In fact, many store owners are growing revenue while quietly increasing pressure on themselves at the same time. Why? Because revenue is only the top line. It tells you how much came in through sales. It does not tell you how much was left after inventory, shipping, advertising, software, merchant fees, returns, payroll, contractors, chargebacks, taxes, and operating overhead. And that is where the pain starts. A lot of e commerce owners are chasing sales growth because growth looks like success from the outside. More orders, more customers, more traffic, more ad spend, more inventory, more movement. But more movement does not always mean more money in your pocket. Sometimes it just means you are working harder to create a bigger flow problem. And I want to say something here that may hit home for some people. There are business owners today who look successful to everyone around them. Their website looks polished, their sales look impressive, their social media looks active, their brand looks like it is growing. But behind the scenes, they are anxious every single week. They are wondering, can I cover inventory? Can I keep running ads? Can I pay this card down? Can I handle returns this month? Can I take money out for myself without hurting the business? That emotional pressure is real. And if you have ever felt that, I want you to know I truly understand how heavy that can feel. The story most owners live but rarely say out loud. Let me paint a picture that I think many e commerce owners will recognize. Imagine a store owner who has a great month. Sales are strong, orders are coming in, the dashboard looks exciting. Maybe they even cross a major milestone. And for a moment, they feel relieved. They think finally things are working. But then reality starts showing up. They need to reorder inventory before they actually feel the benefit of those sales. A big chunk of revenue is still tied up in products that have not sold yet. Advertising costs hit the account. Shipping expenses are higher than expected. returns start coming in, platform fees take their share, processor fees take their share. Maybe there are delayed payouts from Shopify, Amazon, or other channels. Maybe some funds are on hold. Maybe taxes were never set aside properly. And suddenly the owner looks at the bank account and says, where did all the money go? That is the moment so many owners feel confused, frustrated, and honestly defeated because they did what they thought they were supposed to do. They grew the business, they got more sales, they kept pushing, but nobody explained clearly enough that sales growth without cash flow control can actually make the business feel worse, not better. This is one of the most important lessons in e-commerce. You can be profitable on paper and still run out of cash. You can have strong revenue and still feel broke. You can be growing and still be financially unstable. That is why this topic matters so much. Why $1 million in revenue does not automatically mean wealth. Let's talk about the real reasons. Too much cash is trapped in inventory. This is a huge one in e-commerce. Inventory is necessary, but it also eats cash very quickly. You may have money invested in products sitting on shelves in warehouses or on the wall. That money is no longer available to pay bills, run marketing, or support you as the owner. So even if your business is doing strong revenue, your cash may be tied up for weeks or months before you fully recover it. And when inventory decisions are not planned carefully, store owners often overbuy because they are afraid of stockouts. That fear is understandable, but overbuying can suffocate cash flow. Ad spend is growing faster than healthy profit. A lot of store owners are spending heavily to drive revenue, and revenue does go up, but what they do not always stop to ask is how much are we actually keeping after customer acquisition cost? Because if you spend aggressively to get sales, but your margins are thin, you may be buying revenue without building real financial strength. That is a very dangerous place to be. Fees quietly drain the business. Merchant fees, platform fees, fulfillment fees, subscription tools, apps, packaging, shipping adjustments, refunds, chargebacks. These things may look small individually, but together they can create major leaks. And many owners do not fully see the total impact because it is happening in pieces across multiple systems. Sales timing and cash timing do not match. This is another major issue. You may make the sales today, but the cash may not arrive when you need it, or it arrives after deductions, or part of it is delayed, or you have already spent money upfront to fulfill those orders. So there is a timing mismatch between activity and actual usable cash. That mismatch creates stress even in a business that appears to be doing well. No clear system for allocating money. This is a big one. A lot of business owners are making decisions from the main bank balance. If there is money there, they assume things are okay. If it feels low, they panic. But without a system to separate operating expenses, taxes, inventory planning, owner pay, and profit, everything gets mixed together. And when everything is mixed together, clarity disappears. The emotional side no one talks about enough. Now, I want to pause here and talk human to human because behind every financial problem in a business, there is usually a person carrying stress that nobody sees. The owner is trying to stay positive, trying to keep the team motivated, trying to make smart decisions, trying to look confident, trying to keep growing, but internally they are tired. They are asking themselves questions like, why am I working this hard and still feeling behind? Why does growth not feel better than this? Why do I feel guilty taking money from my business? Why am I constantly worried even when sales are good? That emotional burden is real. And I think one of the hardest part is that people out on the outside often assume revenue means success. They see the brand, they see the website, they see the orders, they see the top line, but they do not see the late nights. They do not see the anxiety around payroll, taxes, or reorders. They do not see the pressure of trying to make every dollar stretch. So, if you are in that place right now, I want to say this clearly. You are not weak. You are not bad at business. You are dealing with a financial structure problem, not a personal failure. And that is good news because structure can be fixed. What store owners need to focus on instead? If revenue alone is not the answer, then what should you focus on? There are a few things that matter much more. First, cash flow visibility. You need to know where your money is going, not once in a while, not only at a tax time, and not just by checking your bank account. You need real visibility into inflows, outflows, margin pressure, fixed cost, and timing. Because when you can see clearly, you can make better decisions calmly instead of reacting emotionally. Second, margin awareness. Not all sales are equal. Some products look great from a revenue standpoint but create weak margins. Some sales channels are more expensive than they appear. Some promotions increase activity but damage profitability. If you do not understand margins deeply, revenue can fool you. Third, inventory discipline. Inventory should support growth, not choke the business. That means buying with intention, forecasting demand better, watching turnover, avoiding emotional purchasing decisions, and making sure your cash is not unnecessarily trapped. Fourth, a system for allocating money. You need a plan for what happens when comes in, how much is for operations, how much should be reserved for taxes, how much is available for inventory, how much can go to the owner, how much should stay in the business for stability. When you create a system, money stops feeling random. Fifth, decision making based on numbers, not pressure. Many e commerce owners make decisions while under stress. They order too much, spend too much, discount too quickly, or delay important action because the situation feels unclear. Clear numbers create calmer decisions. Calmer decisions create stronger businesses. A personal reflection style segment I want to address to you. This is the part where I would encourage you to speak from the heart. You can say something like this. You know, one thing I have learned is that business owners do not just need bookkeeping, they do not just need reports, they need clarity. They need to understand what their numbers are trying to tell them. They need someone to help them. So, what is really happening beneath the surface? Because when all you see is sales activity, it is easy to assume everything is fine. But when you slow down and really look at the financial picture, sometimes you discover that the business has been leaking cash in ways nobody noticed. And that can be frustrating, yes, but it can also be a turning point because once you see the truth clearly, you can fix it. I think that is what so many e commerce owners are really looking for. Not just more sales, not just more effort, not just more hustle. They want peace, they want control. They want to know what the business they are building is actually supporting their life, not just consuming it. And honestly, that is what I want for business owners too. I want them to feel confident when they look at their numbers. I want them to know where the money is going. I want them to stop feeling like they are doing everything right and still somehow falling behind. Because you should not have to hit $1 million in revenue and still feel broke. So, practical takeaways. So, before we wrap up, are the few takeaways I want to leave with you. Number one, do not let revenue alone become your scoreboard. Revenue matters, yes, but cash flow, margins, and control matters even more. Number two, if your business is growing but your stress is growing, pay attention. That is often a sign that the financial systems underneath the business are not strong enough for the level of growth you have reached. Number three, inventory, advertising, fees, and timing can quietly destroy cash flow, even when sales look healthy. You have to watch the full picture. Number four, feeling broke in a growing business does not mean your business is hopeless. It usually means your financial structure needs attention. Number five, the sooner you get clarity, the sooner you can move from survival mode into real financial confidence. If this message spoke to you today and you have been wondering why your store is selling but still not creating the financial breathing room you expected, I want you to know there is a real reason. And more importantly, there is a solution. Sometimes the issue is not that your business is not making money. Sometimes the issue is that the money is being squeezed, delayed, trapped, or drained in ways that are not obvious until someone really looks closely. That is why having that right financial visibility matters so much. If you are an e-commerce store owner and you want to understand where your cash is really going, where the leaks are, and how to build a healthier financial foundation, reach out, because the goal is not just to grow revenue. The goal is to build a business that gives you clarity, control, and confidence. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you know another business owner who needs to hear this, share this with them. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next live session. Thank you.